I remember the sick.
Faculty, BSE staff, and our invited speaker, Giorgio Barba Navarrete. The first thing I want to do is to give you a very warm welcome to the graduation ceremony of the class of 2023 at the Barcelona School of Economics. I also want to give our gratitude to AXA Foundation for generously hosting the BSE Graduation Ceremony. AXA has supported the BSE project through our research professors program for many years, and it has also been part of the Board of Trustees for all those years. Our gratitude to Professor Giorgio Barba Navarrete, Vice Chairman of UniCredit Foundation, and also professor at the University of Milan, among many other positions. He has accepted to deliver the graduation speech, so we are grateful for that. UniCredit Foundation has been a BSE allied for many years, providing scholarships to our students and opportunities for their employees to attend our summer school. We have benefited from 13th years, and this is the 13th edition of the UniCredit Foundation scholarship, and we actually hope to keep the standards high of excellence to benefit for many more years, because it is actually a scholarship that is very demanding and only for institutions that are at the very top. Professor Barbara, we are really looking forward to hear to your speech. For all of you, actually you've been here for over 10 months, and I believe you have been working quite hard. It is well known that the BSE programs are rigorous and demanding, but at the same time, we try to offer guidance and support to all our students throughout the academic year and make sure that no one is left behind. Maybe at times you were stressed out, had doubts, and could not imagine this moment to become true. But it is. Here we are celebrating your graduation. More than half of you already have jobs, and many others are in the process of getting one soon. All, as of today, become members of the BSE Alumni Network. At BSE, we hope that you are active members of the BSE Alumni Network and that you keep in touch not only with your classmates and now friends, but also with BSE's faculty and staff. We would very much like to be part of your extended family forever. Congratulations, class of 2023. So many applauses are going to come this afternoon, so we get trained on that. Without further delay, let me give the floor to the president of the Barcelona School of Economics, Paulina Beato.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Today is, for all of us, a great day, a day that we have been planning and waiting for. It is Barcelona School of Economics Graduation Ceremony. Thanks to family and friends for the support to our graduate. Thanks to the sponsors and companies contributing to the success of many of our programs. A special mention to Therese, the deputy director, faculty, staff, all of them very, very committed to the success of our program. My dear graduate, after saying you congratulations, what else can I say to you on this special day? Today is the graduation day, a day in which you close a chapter of your life and start a new one. It's a turning point. It's a time of change. This is why I thought that maybe it's a good idea to talk to you about change. And I would like to offer you 3 reflections or recommendations or suggestions based on my own feelings and experiences. First, you have the right and perhaps even the duty to want things to change. Second, believe me, there are important things that need to be changed. And third, don't be afraid to make them change. You have many friends around and you have many people to ask for help. First, you have the right to want things to change. When I was about your age, in your early 20s, like many of you now, I started to feel passionate about changing. I crave for a democratic society in which everyone could have agency. I wanted to fight for equal rights between men and women. I crave for a family equal obligation with family. But I dream about a society in which everyone will have equal rights and opportunity. Waiting and pushing for that made me happy. I had been lucky enough to witness positive change in Spain and in other many countries that I love. I am perfectly aware that I was not the cause of the change, but I fought to be part of it. So, if you want to change, you will feel happy. Second, there are many important things that need to be changed. We used to live in a world where we shared an optimistic view about progress. We thought that globalization and growth would be beneficial for everyone. We expect to see fewer authoritarian rulers, more respect for diversity, and less discrimination. We believe that freedom of information and the internet would broaden everyone's minds. We did not expect climate change. But the world seems to have been taking a different direction. Freedom of speech and other true elements of democracy are questioned and limited in many, many places. Inequality and inequality of social elevator are challenging our hopes for equal opportunities for everyone. Climate change and the loss of biodiversity are destroying the environment, the economy, and people's health. Artificial intelligence systems might reproduce discriminatory structure that exists in the society and can be used for very, very bad purposes. A terrible example of all this expectation is the return of the war in Europe. But if you decide to tackle any of these problems, let me promise you that you have plenty of skill and knowledge to carry them. Often, very often, you will need help from the other, because nobody can do anything alone. But if you believe that the world has to become more democratic and more equal, you can help to make it happen. If you want to address global warming, you have the skill for so doing. If you want to build a technology that will work for the benefit of us, you can do it. But sometimes you may feel afraid of being embarrassed, of making mistakes, of not making the expectation on others. But when this fear came to your mind, think that there is no any authority in the world to tell you what is the right way to go ahead. Sometimes you might feel afraid that you are unable to do that by yourself, but don't worry. Look to your companies, look for your colleagues, look for other people, and convince them to put you together working for that thing that you wish to change. Don't forget that you have the agency to change everything that needs to be changed, and I strongly urge you to fight for it, because no one else but you can do it for you. Thanks and congratulations again, which is the normal thing to tell you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paulina, for this very encouraging talk. So I would like to give the floor to Professor Giorgio Barba Navarrete, Vice Chairman of UniCredit Foundation and also Professor at the University of Milan, please.
Thank you very much. Should I go there?
Yes, if you want to. Thanks.
So, hello to everybody, and thank you very much for inviting me to this graduation ceremony. I am very, very honored. Thank you very much for really introducing me also, Teresa. It's really, for me, it's an honor to be here, both as, the Vice Chairman of UniCredit, that, as you say, you're right, UniCredit Foundation supports BSE, or at least one scholarship in BSE, and one summer school has been supporting it for now 13 years, which is a lot of time, because this is really an institution in which the foundation believes. And as I was saying before, when we met, these Spanish schools like the BSE and the university around it they were really pioneers in Europe in really fostering advanced economic studies, even before all other countries really put their act together in order to do the same thing. So they really led the way in this direction. So you're really very fortunate to be graduating here today. I'm really very, 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 very honored. My speech stands between you being graduate. So before you will be graduate after I finish my speech. So this is a big responsibility. So I'll try to be brief. I'll try not to bore you and to talk about something that I thought what I could talk about. And I decided that a good way of having a graduation speech was to talk about one of my favorite articles in General Treaties, which I think it's a great achievement of our contemporary society, that it's Article 1 of the General Agreement of Tariffs and Trade. You must think this is terribly boring. So you must think, why he's coming here to talk about Article 1 about the General Agreement of Tariffs and Trade? I agree with you, it could be terribly boring, but let's try to see if there is some insights in it and how this can be related to what you're doing, to your career and to your future. Because I think that I really enjoyed very much Dr. Beato's introduction, and this idea that essentially you should be agent for change, okay? But the first thing that you need to know to be agent for change, to understand what is changing around, why things are happening, and what is changing. So Article 1 of GATT is called the Most Favored Nation Clause. Now, what you think, when you think the Most Favored Nation Clause, one think about something that it's extremely discriminatory. The most favored nation, my most favored friend, my most favored being, it's really, you think it's something that is connected to a privilege. In fact, it's the opposite. Here is the article, here, it's Article 1 of GATT. And you can read it, but essentially what it says, it introduces a fundamental principle, which is a principle of non-discrimination, okay? So the idea is that no country may be discriminated against, whatever the condition of access to its market partners. It means that if a country, the kind of commercial condition that the country has to grant to its trading partner are the same that it grants to its most favored nation. So the most favored nation becomes the benchmark around which to construct the conditions of access to a given market to other countries, okay? So it's really a very important non-discriminatory principle, and this was really at the heart, was the most important principle of all the multilateral trade agreements. So it's really a multilateral institution that were created around the GATT and then gave way to the WTO later on, much later in 1994. So and this is also a very efficient mechanism. It's the institutional mechanism through which trade liberalization was diffused in the world. This was a very special period. Why this happened? We were immediately after the war. Countries really wanted to stop fighting. They wanted to grow. That was a time when the growth in Europe had to be recreated, and essentially out of the Bretton Woods institutions, the rules that essentially regulated free trade were was the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, and the most favored nation was the fundamental principle around which this perspective was constructed. Naturally, the problem with principles, okay, is that principles have can be seen from different angles, and I will come to why this is very relevant for you today. They can be seen from very different angles because there are different positions. They can be interpreted by people from different point of view, and also because they evolve in time, and they evolve with the political climate, they evolve with how the institutions evolve, they change in time. And if you think about this most favored nation principle, okay, you already have two fundamental points of view. One point of view is the point of view of the exporters. Exporters are happy because essentially this principle guarantees that in any market where they export, they will not be subject to discrimination, and no one will receive more favorable conditions than those granted to this very exporter, okay? So it's essentially a rule that essentially prevents a country and a country of destination to give better conditions to other countries than those granted to that exporter. But from the importer point of view, the story is much more complicated. Why? Well, because in a way, it's a double-edged, if you want, sword. Because it's true, it opens up the market to trade. So, an importer market, it's opened up to trade. But at the same time, being opened up to trade, it increases competition for local companies and for the local economic environment, okay? And therefore, it can be, it can be seen in this kind of agreement can be seen in a completely different article, can be seen in a principle, can be seen in a completely different way. Okay, it can be seen as essentially an instrument of liberalization from a liberal perspective, a liberal point of view, okay, and the idea that essentially it's good because the economies benefit from trade and competition, so it's good, we open it up to trade, but, and we call it, a view that is ad includendum. It includes, it's a view that essentially you should open your market, it includes competition, not discriminate. But on the other hand, you can use it in a geopolitical way to exclude other countries in a very, very subtle, with very, very subtle mechanisms. And one example that is really, that nowadays, for example, it's pretty obvious, is the example of Brexit, okay? Great Britain maybe wants to give grants more favorable condition to, let's say, Singapore than it has with the European Union, okay? So it would like to liberalize trade even more than actually it has liberalized with the condition that it has with the European Union after Brexit, okay? They want to open up to trade with Singapore. But essentially, if they grant this better condition to Singapore, the most favored nation clause says you have to give the same, exactly the same condition to the rest of Europe, okay? So by opening up your market to Singapore, you're also opening up to Europe. And from the British point of view, maybe this is a cost, because, you know, you essentially favor the entrance of your products in your market, and this can be costly from your point of view. So this very principle can also be used in a way in which somehow it's ad excludendum. It somehow protects your market. It prevents others from entering your market. And the spirit of the WTO was clearly a spirit of the liberal view. The idea that essentially you wanted to extend trade liberalization to many different countries, okay, in order to open up trade and foster growth through trade, okay? The new view, the contemporary view, and I gave you the example of Brexit, but I can give you, sorry, there is a lot of, right, I think this is very clear what the view is. Another view, which is clearly emerging today and has been starting with Donald Trump and has been starting with all the geopolitical tension that we are observing now, is that essentially these kind of clauses have to be used in order to somehow discriminate other countries. And here Trump is introducing a very strong idea, the idea of reciprocity. You see what he says? He says reciprocity, my favorite word. Reciprocity means fair trade instead of free trade. If somebody is charging us 50%, we should charge them 50%. So the idea that essentially you have reciprocal condition. But what is interesting is that the whole process of trade liberalization and the introduction of the most favored nation conditions within the GATT had no principle of reciprocity. There was no reciprocity. And this is crucial, because if you have reciprocity, okay, it means that I give you a favor if you give me in return the same favor, okay? I give you a gift, but I want back a gift of the same value, okay? The non-reciprocity means I open up my market, whatever your conditions are. It's a completely different principle. And all the big expansion of trade since 1946, and especially since the 80s, has been built of this idea of non-reciprocity and non-discrimination without reciprocity. And I will come back to tell you why this is very important. Let me go back then to this chart, okay? And this really, I'm sorry, I've been going a little bit around in circles, but I want to get to what is our story and why it's important, also related to the introductory speech before. Now, there are two periods in time when these most favored nation conditions with non-reciprocity has been introduced, and I will come back to them. The first one is in 1860, and it's a famous trade treaty between the UK and France. Okay, it's a bilateral treaty that had a condition of most favored nation. It's called the Cobden-Chevalier Treaty. Okay, and essentially it was the first time that this idea of most favored nation without reciprocity was introduced. That led to an expansion in trade. What you have on this graph is the sum of export and import, total trade over GDP. As you can see, from then to the First World War, this indicator really goes up, jumps up, goes very high, and then you have the First World War, the Second World War, and trade goes down, okay, until after the Second World War, we have the GATT, and we have the introduction, the most favored nation article, the Article 1 I was mentioning before. And what is this incredible growth in trade that we observe afterwards is essentially what our generation, the generation of your professors, my generation, we have been living since the 90s onwards. Those were the time before, it was after the Second World War, we were not there yet, but afterwards was the collapse of the Berlin Wall, was the big integration, was the opening up of China, China entering WTO. This is the period that we, our generation, have been been living through from I would say here, it's the 1990s till till today, okay? Now, the problem is that the period you're living through is the one related to the declaration of Trump. It's a period where essentially, yes, I open up trade, but only if you open it up as well. And the world you're living through is a world where essentially these clauses are starting to be used with a discriminatory principles to create trade blocs, okay, where essentially there are some countries that are friends that apply that most favored nation clause, groups of countries, and others which are considered not friends, okay, and are considered countries with whom good trading conditions should not be extended. Now, we should get to understand why we ended up to this point. But I wanted to show you this because what is important, and the introductory speech that was made clear, is that the economic world in which you will be operating, okay, I hope we will not end up with the war in Europe, really, and I think we are not really there yet. But it's a world where this idea of non-discrimination, which is a fundamental idea on which all our well-being and a long period of peace has been built in the world, is starting to shake. And the same principle is now used for discriminating purposes. Most favored nations are my friends, okay, and the others are outside of the picture. Let me go back. How much more time I have? Teresa?
Overall 20 minutes, so 10 minutes left.
10 minutes? Yes, okay. Okay, this is Trump. You have seen Trump, okay? Okay, well, you know this is where we are now. I mean, Biden is not much better than Trump from this point of view. He's much better from other point of view. But I'm talking about trade, of course. But this idea of reciprocity is still there in all the discourses about trade liberalization, about new trade treaties. It's there. But let me go back in history, and I want to tell you what are the roots of the Cobden-Chevalier Treaty, because it's interesting to understand on what these ideas have been built, because this is very important. If you want to change the world, we need to understand where ideas have been built on. So this is UK, this is the whole story about the abolition of the Corn Laws. You know what the Corn Laws are? The abolition of the Corn Laws, does it say, rings a bell? Okay. Until 1846, the UK market was very protected. They had very, very high trade barriers against imports of corn from the rest of the world, corns and grains and other things from the rest of the world. This was protecting essentially UK landowners, okay? They were very much protected. They were making a lot of money because essentially the price of corn was very high, but essentially people were hungry. There was, for example, there was the big famine also in Ireland in this period that is precisely due to the fact that, not that there was scarcity of wheat, but precisely because the price of wheat was incredibly high in this period because of this protection. And as you know, the UK was industrializing. So you had, the new industrialists, the new urban bourgeoisie, that essentially they wanted to pay, they had workers, they want to pay their workers possibly a little bit less. But if bread was so expensive, they needed to feed them, no? They needed their workers to be efficient and to feed them. So they had to pay higher salaries in order for them to buy bread. So the bourgeoisie, the industrialists were unhappy because they had to pay too much, and the workers were unhappy because they didn't have enough bread to eat in the end. So there was a big movement for liberalization that ended up in 1846. As you see from the graph, the blue line is the average tariff on wheat. As you can see, it collapses, and after them, the red bar, you see imports of wheat in the UK really goes up enormously. Why I'm saying this? It's interesting because the reason behind, okay, this big exercise, historical exercise of trade liberalization is really an exercise of redistribution of income. So the arguments essentially for liberalizing trade are A, an argument, an efficiency argument. Of course, there is a whole school of Smith and Ricardo, so the liberal ideas in the UK and the idea that free trade makes countries more efficient, make them grow better. But there is a strong redistributive argument. So the idea that the reduction of tariffs allows for lowering the prices of goods for workers, okay, and therefore it would increase the profits of an entrepreneur, all this at the expenses of landowners that were enjoying huge rents before. So it was a redistributive exercise that led to this process of trade liberalization. And it's precisely in this very spirit that these two guys, Richard Cobden and Michel Chevalier, wrote the Cobden-Chevalier Treaty with France. The Chevalier Treaty with France was, as I said, an exercise of non-reciprocal trade liberalization with the introduction, first introduction of the most favored nation. These two guys were Chevalier was a liberal economist, Cobden was an entrepreneur, he was a member of parliament. Really, Cobden was very much behind the abolition of the Corn Laws, so he was very much into that. And Chevalier in France was very much instrumental in convincing Napoleon III to accept this new trade theory. Actually, the British were smart because they wanted the trade treaty for two reasons, besides because they really believed in trade liberalization. A, because they were the strongest exporter at that time. They had the best industry. They were the most efficient. Their industry was the most efficient in Europe, so they had a lot of power in the international market. And B, because they were afraid of Napoleon. Napoleon III was very strong at the time, and he had won the War of Independence in Italy. He was behind the Wars of Independence in Italy. He was really very strong. And so they thought, well, maybe instead of fighting him, it's better we keep him inside a good trade agreement. We start trading a lot, even more than we do, and this will smooth out the possibility of war. And in fact, they managed to do this. But what I really want to say is that if you can make a comparison, okay, between the kind of popular, if you want, the popular rhymes and poetry that was supporting the abolition of the Corn Law at the time, which are called the Corn Law rhymes, and the main poet at the time was a poet called, that I'm sure you all know, of course, Ebenezer Eliot. Of course, you all know about Ebenezer Eliot, I presume, okay? And he was writing rhymes that were very interesting, but the idea was 12 rats starve while 3 rats thrive. When 15 rats are caged alive with food for 9 and 3. Essentially, they're saying, okay, because of these trade barriers, because of these taxes that feed you very rich landlord, we are starving, and we are the rats who are really starving in the cage, okay? But what is nice is that the same rhymes, same kinds of rhymes, are used by today's rappers. For example, Tupac, you know about Tupac, right? And you know Kendrick Lamar, okay? You do know, right? So if you look at the text of their rhymes, these are rappers, you look at their rhymes, they're very similar texts. They're really, again, it's about some people being exploited and wanting to change the world, okay? The world that the rappers, this is the music also, I think. You see? This is the music of the rappers, okay? So I'm changing, I'm sorry. I'm almost there, I'm almost done. So what I wanted to tell you is that this is really behind two completely changes in policy, okay? The first one is a movement for trade liberalization, popular movement of trade liberalization, where really there are rhymes, there were no rapper at the time, but there are rhymes written in favor of trade liberalization because people are starving. The other one is, well, we want less liberal policy because we are starving, okay? So there is again a movement which is, of course, is going against globalization today, that has a deep roots in problem of income distribution, exactly as during the 19th century, the liberal movement had roots in problems of income distributions. So where are we now? And I will conclude. Why this most favored nation idea and this idea of non-discrimination is ending and we're moving towards a discriminatory view of most favored nation? Well, of course, again, let me go back to where I started, the income distribution concerns. They are real. There are problems of income distribution. Trade liberalization has created issues of income distribution. It has also created an enormous amount of wealth. It has reduced income distribution, improved income distribution between countries, okay, but within countries, certainly there is a problem of income distribution. There are larger numbers of people that are feeling left out, that support populist movements and who are against this idea of trade liberalization, they're against globalization, and they fear globalization as a problem. So if people start saying, you know, let's go back to an idea of nation. If I want to open up trade, I have to defend my border. I need another one giving the same condition. The second problem is that the world is much more complex. Trade agreements, initially, they could work because they were shallow. What do you mean shallow? Why do I say shallow? They were shallow because they were only focused on tariffs. The only thing was to reduce tariffs in the end. Of course, I am making it a little simpler, but more or less it was like this. They were shallow agreements, okay? Today, any global agreement has other concerns who are there, development concerns, and especially sustainability, okay? The Americans have just introduced something, probably you heard of it, which is the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, which is essentially something that has nothing to do with inflation, but which is a massive program of subsidizing American industries to do sustainable investments and other investments, but essentially towards sustainability, okay? This is, it's a key concern which has to be introduced in global treaties. It's important, okay? And of course, subsidizing industry like the IRA is doing, even for a good reason like sustainability, is against the principles of GATT, which essentially forbids countries from subsidizing their industries because it's an idea of unfair trade. I think that Massimo Motta has been working on these issues a lot. I mean, the idea that you subsidize your companies and essentially you grant them favorable conditions and unfair trade conditions. So the fact that we have today to discuss issues of sustainability makes these global agreements and this idea of a generalized most favored nation complex. And security concerns and geopolitical tension makes it even more complex, okay? Because the world we have been living through where essentially trade was booming and all that was a world where essentially countries were free to trade, they were willing to trade, whatever were the political conditions of the trading partners. Okay, everybody knew that there were some countries that were a little bit rogue government. They were not fully democratic. Their set of values was not so good. They were subsidizing and supporting industry. But essentially, okay, that was a problem. But trade was going on anyway. Okay, and so the idea that you would trade, however, whatever are the conditions, whatever are the characteristics of your trading partners. Now it's with national security concerns. This is becoming more and more complex. It's more and more difficult to do so, and the world is starting to be divided into different geopolitical groups, friends and enemy. Janet Yellen, the Secretary of the Treasury in America, spoke about this idea of friend shoring and enemy shoring. No, friend shoring. Friend shoring means you should do offshoring only with your friends and not with others. So in that sense, the world is getting divided in blocks. There is more and more regional trade, and this idea of most favored nation is used more and more with a discriminatory meaning, which is a problem. So, to conclude, I think, and I'm done, this is my last slide, I think the crucial thing and the real challenge for your new generation and for essentially the way in which you will have to work are essentially two. First of all, do not forget that the well-being and the long peace period that we benefited was based on a very, very important principle, which was this principle of non-discrimination and of reciprocity. Okay, that is very important and is something that really needs to be preserved in the narrative of how the future economic world should be. And the second, that I think that multilateralism is very important. Essentially, especially when we are starting to consider issues of sustainability. Multilateralism is very, very important, and I think that it's really a goal for your generation to go back to think what were the roots of the multilateralism we have been living through, how it can be reformed, because it needs to be reformed, but how to preserve the values of a world that can function on rules that are shared by everybody in a non-discriminatory way. I think that is crucial. So thank you very much. Good luck for your graduation. And there you go.
Thank you so much, Professor Barba Navarrete, for this inspiring talk and bringing history to the challenges of today. So I would like to give the floor now to Professor Elena Ramalino, who is Vice Rector for Internationalization of the Universitat Pompeu Fabra.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, dear Dr. Paulina Beato, Professor Teresa Garcia Milá, Professor Xavier Ramos Murilla, Professor George Barba Navarrete, and thank you for your wonderful speech. Dear students, families, colleagues, and friends, the first thing I would like to do is to express my warmest congratulations on your academic milestone. Today's event symbolized the culmination of your studies at the Barcelona School of Economics, and for these reasons, we want to celebrate this achievement with your colleagues, professors, families, and all friends here present. It's therefore the end of a period, but also the beginning of a new bright area in your lives. I am sure that what you have learned and built during this period at the BSE makes you better prepared and more capable for facing the professional challenge that will come in your way. You have not only learned new academic concepts, techniques, skills, knowledge in economics, data science, finance, but you also had the opportunity to share experience with your colleagues from all over the world. These relationships very often become stronger and with time play an important role in your future. This morning, I just arrived from Chile, where I attend a conference in my research area, which is very close related with data science. I can tell you that I enjoy very much all the talks in the conference, but I enjoy even more to see all my friends and colleagues from my master and PhD programs. They come from all around the world. I rely on them frequently to do my job, sharing and discussion, research ideas, looking for new opportunities, or just having a good time, or send me the results of the final of Wimbledon where I'm flying. The colleagues network can help you in many ways, as for example, helping the career development, the personal growth, creating new opportunities and new professional relationships, and even personal ones. So please do not forget to take care of these relationships in the future. As Professor Teresa Garcia Milá said, today you also join the BSE alumni community, and by extension, the alumni of UPF and Autonomous University represented my dear colleague, Professor Xavier Ramos. The relationship that we have built together all this last year will not end here, and the BSE, UPF, and UAB are now forever your home. To end, I would like to cite one of my favorite poets, Fernando Pessoa. The value of things is not the time they last, but the intensity with which they occur. That's why there are unforgettable moments and unique people. Congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elena. I would like to give the floor now to Professor Xavier Ramos, who is Vice Rector of Economy at the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona.
Yes, thank you very much, Teresa. Dear BSE 2023 class, family up there. It is indeed a great honor to be here today. I'm so very happy. It is a great honor to congratulate you as a vice rector of the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona, who is teaming up with the Pompeu Fabra to build this wonderful program. On behalf of my rector today, who unfortunately couldn't be here today with you. The BSE, the Barcelona School of Economics, was founded 17 years ago, in 2006. And since then, we've been very proud to welcome international, talented students from all over the world in our two campuses, the UPF and the Autònoma in Bellaterra. With great effort, and as the BSE director reminded us, hard work on your behalf, you have arrived at this day, and we are very proud that a new cohort of students is about to graduate. You are young, and you are talented, so take advantage of everything you've learned this year, of your friends, the networks you've made, all your colleagues. As an economist myself, I understand that the skills you had, and that you have acquired, this wonderful training, perseverance, and strong will, among others, can make a difference to the world and its many challenges that have been outlined and pointed out previously in the introductory speech by our president and by Professor Navarrete in his lecture. Go and embrace all the opportunities that will open in front of you. And be ambitious. Be very ambitious and dream high, because you are well equipped to do so, to change the world, where it has to be changed, of course. You belong to a unique community that includes scholars from 4 academic institutions and a selected group of students spread all over the world and trained here at the BSE. As the previous person who spoke before me told you, networks are great, are important for your life and for your career. So please keep in touch with your faculty, with your colleagues, and keep always with you the memories of this unique year. I'm sure you will cross each other's life more than once in the years to come. I would like to end by asking you to be the best ambassadors of the BSE and the 4 founding units, and in particular, my own university, the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona. Congratulations to all of you, my most sincere congratulations.
Thank you so much, Xavier. Well, I think now is your moment of glory. You've been waiting for almost a year to get your diploma from your graduation at BSE. So let's start with the master's degree in data science, the master's degree in data science, and we will start with Professor Hannes Muller. Please come to the auditorium here, the lantern. And Professor Hannes Muller, as you know, is the director of the program in data science for decision making.
So we will first have a video, and then I'm going to read out the names.
From a distance, well, I turn a blind eye. Should've loved you there, the way that I do now. Remember yourself. This is my favorite songs. Demon. Huh? He was rehearsing and I wasn't going to the room. Little flex, but I live with the guy.
As a reaction to the Tupac's clip, I'm going to rap your names. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. Okay, serious. This is serious. This is your moment. Benjamin Pagvenia, Giovanna Chavez, Lucas Costa, Daniela de los Santos Acuña, and Eric Frey. David Gandian is not here. I know that. He excuses himself, but he's on the list. Then we have Marcelo Emilio Guia Salazar, Erika Noé Gutierrez, Vicente Lisboa, and Sam Miners. All the best. The next 5 people are Catalina Odizio, Tobias Pfeiffer, Margarita Philip, Maria Pinto-Serrat, and Agostina Alexandra Piscinis. We have Luis Alejandro Quiñones Acosta, John Robbins, Javier Roset, Luisa Rui Faran, and Wunyong Sheni Se. And last but not least, Davis Jacob Thomas, Renato Vasallo Sarango, Junfeng Wang, and Mary-Glenn Pearl Herrero. It's amazing to see you guys like this. So nice.
Representing the program in data science methodology, Doug?
David Rosset gives his apologies for not being able to be here. Okay, so we have Nikita Baklajenko, Elaine Brian Balderas, Alex.
We have the video first.
It's okay.
Apologies of me talking ruined the video. Okay, once again. So we have Nikita Baklajenko, Elaine Brian Balderas, Alessandro Ciancetta, Miguel Cono Bonmati, and Antonia George. Nicole Buenarova, Lenka Shevchakova, Ramon Talvi Roblero, Alessandro Tenderini, and David Vaimania Poch. Irene Villalonga Dominguez, Jule Volts, Dominic Vilat, and Akesh Yadav. Very well done, everybody.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, we're now going to proceed to the master's degree in economics and finance, and I would like to call to the floor Professor Marta Reynal, who is director of the program in economics. So let's see the video first.
I remember the sickness was forever. I remember snuff videos, cold Septembers, the distances we covered, the fist fights on the beach, the busies round us up, crying like a child, and the boy you kicked Tom's head in still bugs me now. That's the thing, it lingers and claws you when you're down.
Okay, so let's start the long list of names. Elvara Mohamed Atemula Abbas, Glenn Abela, Utku Agba, Afonso Alves Monteiro, James Harris. Apurva Ashish, Daniel Ball, Victoria Brighton, Donald Cahill, Hugo Fernández Canau. Dayan Carpentier, Sebastián Carpentier Nasal, Daniel Alejandro Carrera Abad, Leonardo Kerichi, Sean Rolf Cromwell. Lauren Kerschelas, Rafael Decker, Laura Ann Fras, Ankita Ghosh, Alisa Gorelova. Thomas Harding, Jean-Jacob Kruger, Hujan Lee, Salvatore Liachi, Hao Wei Luo. Yuhan Luo, Ana Luisa Machado, Germán Marcusen, Antonio Marta Miranda, Gonzalo Martínez Romero. Gianmarco Meta, Sauta Mitra, Roberta Montevelo, Jinjie Mu, Viviansh Sin Parijar. Elan Pellegrí, Carlos Pequeño, Lucas Queiroz, Rishabh Rastogi, Juan Rojano Borreguero. Oliver Ryder Green, Sergio Stentardo, Joseph Tapling, Charlie James Whitehead, Bing Zeyan. So congratulations to all of you, and I wish you very good luck.
Thank you, Marta. I would like to call now Professor Filippo Ippolito, who is Director of the Program in Finance.
Maybe we're just trying too hard, when really it's closer than it is too far. 'Cause I'm in too deep and I'm trying to keep up above in my head instead of going under. 'Cause I'm in too deep and I'm trying to keep up above in my head instead of going under. Instead of going under.
Thank you. It is my great honor and pleasure to summon the small but wonderful finance group. Ashtor Arnoldsson, Long Chen, Thanos Didaskalou, Neil Fleisch, and Filippo Fortunio. Emanuela Grasso, Dominique Merz, Nurseda Saim,
Thank you, Filippo. I will now call to the floor Jordi Galí, who is director of the PhD track.
Well, I'm standing for Davide Bortoli, who's the real director. I want to congratulate all of you. Of course, you only have 6 more years to go, but that's okay. Very good. So here's the list of the great. Pedro Amuchastegui, Lucas Benedict Bantle, Leila Maria Beck, Nikita Belgi, Ottavia Capozzi. Santiago Gamba Santamaria, Onat Kanguriz, Janik Klink, Lucas Leister, Yaming Ma. Eugenio Marchesini Reggiani, Federico Mattei, Nicolás Oviedo, Alessandro Palucci, Tommaso Pancheri. Last but not least, Alessandro Pompapaki, Lina Maria Ramirez Villegas, Joaquin Barbacino, Xiao Yang Wang, and Janik Doucher. Best of luck, and see you in September.
Thank you, Jordi. So we're going to move to the master's degree in specialized economic analysis, and I would like to call Professors Massimo Mora and Rosa Ferrer, both directors of the Programming Competition and Market Regulation.
But if you ask for a ride,
Okay, so after many problem sets submitted, many hours of study and exams, and most importantly, many things learned, please join me in congratulating David Joel Ampuero Herrera, Edwin Barrera, Liam Deaton, Joan Fresha, Natalie Guest.
Edwin? Edwin, you.
And now, congratulations to Shengji Jiang and Imma Pinent.
Thank you, Rosa and Massimo. So I would like to call now Professors Marijuan and Albert Banal from the Economics of Energy, Climate Change, and Sustainability. So we have Mar.
There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Every time we stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
To welcome or graduate the first batch of the Energy, Climate Change and Sustainability. It's the first year we have this program, and we are very thankful to have this graduating class. Leo Aspect, Karishma Balu, Mathieu Braille, Sumantha Ghosh, and Danny Gray.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Alaya Huerta-Leibner, Thomas Petricone, Dhruv Rajput, Susanna Recusani, and Karianne Reinerson. And Matías Rojas and Lorenzo Santucci.
Thank you, Mar and Albert. So I'd like to call now Professors Ada Ferrer-Carbonell and Joan Llull, which are directors of the Program of Economics of Public Policy. I think this time both of you come up. Good.
Por encima de todas to judge for the videos after many beers and cocktails, congratulate to Claudia Abdahal, Rever Akar, Guifré Ballester, Renata Canini, and Laura Castellanos.
Now congrats to Rodrigo Chan Guaita, Jimena Contreras, Joe Easterling, Alcione Colia, and Eduardo Montañer.
Esteban Penelas Ronso Merino, Silvia Ríos Jurasiti, María Magdalena Temudo, and Inés Torres Rojas.
Thank you, Ada and Joan. So I would like now to call to the floor Professors Jaume Ventura and Fernando Bronner from ITRD.
But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong, and I learned how to get along, and so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock. I should have made you leave your key. If I'd have known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. Oh, now go. Walk out the door. Just turn around. You're not welcome anymore. I've got all my life to live. I've got all my love to give. I'll survive.
Dear class of 2023, it is great to see how many of you did survive. It is great to see that, and I would like to take this opportunity with Fernando and I to congratulate you on your achievements. And now we're going to start calling you. Daniela Arellano Baeza. Luke Ayamga Atazona. Deiza Babu. Dario Canata. Lakshmi Isabel Castillo Thorne.
William Chisman. Celine Duran. Alessandro Fornasari. Rubén Gargallo Vargas. Harriet Rose Hooper.
Yutai Ke. Geraldine Kunsley. Adam Landau. Shi Lei. Cathal Leslie.
Tai Joseph Locasio. Harry Morris. Darian Kaminsky Muñoz. Partena Nalpantidou. Flaminia Propersi.
Salomé Rigó. Daniela Severini. Eric Soler Vives. Valeria Paola Strussi. David Teixeira Tillo.
Matías Vesperoni. Elizabeth Jean Weathersby. Congratulations, Guy, you're great.
Thank you, Jaume and Fernando. So I would like to call Professor Hugo Rodriguez, who is Director of the Program in Macroeconomics, Policy, and Financial Markets.
It doesn't look like, but you guys were working like crazy during the whole year. I would like to congratulate you guys, and also I would like to thank you, because you have been an splendid group. You have been sticking together since the very beginning, and I think it has been wonderful. It has been a privilege for me to be your director this year. So thank you very much. So join me to congratulate Dima Turki, Maurice Jonathan Arndt, Ignacio Balbi, Emil Bernstein, Martín Casella. Sergio Gadelia, Ferran García, Timothy Hunter, Isabela Lara, Jacob Milker. Marcus Miller, Mauricio Monge, Gutzengel Niancu, Marcelo Viols, Diego Pérez González. Alibas Bruti, Dariana Tani, Alessandro Ballín, Martín Villarán. Congratulations.
Thank you, Hugo. Well, that was fun. So we're going to finish our graduation ceremony with some speeches from alumni and students. So I would like to call to the floor the alumni representative, Josefina Zendon, who is from the program Economics Academy Year 2018-2019. So, Josefina.
Dear graduates, dear faculty, dear families and friends, it is my great honor to address you tonight and congratulate you for your great achievement. 4 years ago, I stood on the same side of the room as you, celebrating the end of an incredibly challenging year. I share this experience, just like you, with people from many different backgrounds, with a common feature that this year has shaped us all. We were pushed to learn, grow, and navigate the excitement and overwhelming feeling that came with living in this remarkable city and completing the master's program. I think there's no controversy in saying that the master's was tough. There were times when problem sets felt impossible and the workload too much. I personally doubted my ability and motivation many times. I remember comparing myself to others and feeling that I was not good enough. Who among us hasn't experienced doubt and compared ourselves to others at some point? Over time, I came to realize how pointless such comparisons are. Economics and data analysis taught us the power of comparisons, but also that no individual has a perfect control group. We're all so different and unique. Every one of you was chosen to be part of this community based on your excellence, but your past and the experiences that brought you here are amazingly diverse. Unfortunately, success is often measured in comparison to others. We constantly seek external benchmarks. Today, I invite you to find those benchmarks within yourselves. Define your own metrics of success and use those to measure your growth. What do you value? What do you personally what do you personally use to measure your success? Think about what brings you energy, what truly excites you to wake up in the morning. And the next time you question whether you're good enough or making progress, refer back to those metrics. Much of this tough process revolved around asking questions. Even when we were expected to have clear answers to problem sets, we often found ourselves asking countless additional questions in the process of seeking solutions. I used to find this very puzzling. How could I possibly complete a task within the next 2 days when I had more questions than answers? Sometimes, doubting and questioning are the only way forward. One of the most valuable aspects of this past year is not the answers and solutions you arrived at, but the journey that led you there. You learned to seek answers even when none seem apparent. You did not only learn to meet deadlines and solve problem sets, but you also acquired the skill of asking questions, of thinking critically, and of persisting in search of solutions, even when they were elusive. We're surrounded by uncertainty. The world is full not only of unsolved but also undefined problems. I encourage you to approach them with the same determination you brought to the challenges of being a student. I invite you to remain lifelong students. Wherever your path takes you, maintaining this eagerness to learn and to inquire. This attitude helped me personally during my PhD, but it's also incredibly useful to many of my companions who did not stay in academia, but engage in analytical work, which many of you might be doing very soon. Speaking of companions, there are many things this year might leave you with. But if you ask me what I value the most and what I remember the most about my master's, it is definitely the people I met there. Even after 5 years of PhD, I still feel like I never studied as much as that year. But I enjoyed every minute of it because of the people I did it with. In fact, some of the closest people to me today, and from those whom I keep learning every day, are people I met during my time at BSE. Some are still in Spain, others in Belgium, the UK, Kenya. We all came from different places, and our paths will take us to different destinations. But from now on, you all share at least one thing in common, a common point of departure and a community that aspires to achieve something greater than ourselves. As a famous proverb says, if you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, do it together. My hope is that you embrace the road that lies ahead with consciousness, open-mindedness, and in the company of individuals that uplift you and inspire you. I wish you to stay true to yourself and discover your own recipe for success, all while remembering the great responsibility that comes with these incredible opportunities we have had. In this journey, as the poet Constantin Cavafy said, keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. But don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way. Whatever your Ithaca is, I wish you embrace the experiences that can along the journey. Celebrate all your victories and hopefully find inspiring traveling companions. Congratulations, graduates. I hope you feel proud of everything you have accomplished and excited for what is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Josefina. So to finish this ceremony, we're going to have two students. Okay. Yeah, you can come. Yeah, right. So. Okay, so for those who maybe don't know them, little John Leslie from the ITFD program. And Giovanna Chavez from the Data Science for Decision Making. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Giovanna from Data Science for Decision Making.
And I'm Kahal from the ITFD program.
We are extremely honored to be this year's student speakers. To tackle what is arguably the most challenging task of this year, we decided to approach this speech in line with the collaborative style of BSE's master's programs.
That is, neither of us wrote our own speeches tonight. Instead, I've written Giovanna's speech and Giovanna's written mine, which today we will see for the first time and read it in front of you.
And just as a disclaimer to the administration, this is not at all reflective of any assignment we submitted this year.
Here you go. Enjoy.
Okay. Yo, yo, yo. It's your girl, Giovanna, and I will refrain from any further yo's regardless of what Cahal has written. I wanted to start by acknowledging all of those who have made the last year possible. Firstly, thank you to the faculty and administration for creating a warm environment where we have received a superb education. To Jacinto at the cafeteria, thank you for helping us stay awake for our 8 a.m. lectures. And to Sebas at Oveja Negra, thank you for the 37-euro beer special. I also wanted to thank ChatGPT and everyone else who helped write this speech. As many of the students would know, we sent a text message to 200 people in the BSE social chat for anecdotes to include in today's speech. Unfortunately, we received only one sarcastic response. Thank you very much, Tim Hunter. Despite that, generally, we are a very community-minded group. For the surprising number of broken legs over the past year, someone has always pushed a wheelchair. For every Friday night, Darian has selflessly organized a pub crawl. And like clockwork, for every Catalan holiday, there's always been a social chat message from Ferran explaining the history behind it. Yeah, Cahal, I think you misspelled message here, but I don't think there's been a social chat massage yet. But anyway, I don't think this collegial spirit has come about accidentally. Before I started the master's program, one former student shared with me his tips for success: exercise, a balanced diet, and a healthy social life. These are the 3 demons you must tackle to succeed at BSE. And that we did. Our collective trauma has bonded us into a community. The pasta in Andorra strengthened our collective faith in the food from Casa de Lina. Our months-long attempts to get a padró in Nie left many of us in a Kafkaesque nightmare. And our group assignments, while generating some temporary enemies, have forged some dear lifelong friendships. But not all of our bonding was traumatic. We all enjoyed ignoring the Term 3 student surveys as we celebrated post-exams. We took great pleasure in stealing food from UPF conferences like Seagulls. And lastly, of course, joined by our beautiful friends, family, and the BSE community, the wonderful celebration that is happening now, which will no doubt continue until sunrise. I will now pass you on to our very cool, very awesome, and very handsome next speaker.
Wow. What a beautiful speech, Giovanna. If I do say so myself. At BSE, we've had the unique privilege of being part of a diverse community. On campus, it was not uncommon to hear conversations in Catalan, Chinese, Spanish, English, and English with unintelligible British accents. However, we quickly discovered that nothing is quite as incomprehensible as econometrics or advanced natural language processing. Further, we've learned that eigenvectors are extremely important. Deworming is very cost-effective, Two-way fixed effects are problematic with staggered treatments, and that none of this may matter when ChatGPT takes our jobs. More seriously, though, we can't ignore the world's dynamic nature and the value of our education in it. While our economics and data science studies have equipped us with tools to navigate the world, these tools can and will change throughout our careers. However, what's of greatest significance is the framework that our education has instilled in us, enabling us to view the world in a unique way. The framework empowers us to approach and analyze new and complex problems and formulate and communicate practical solutions. Between the two of us, we are confident in our classmates' unique skill sets to truly change the world. Students from the energy program are about to start jobs to help save the planet, while our finance graduates' friends are about to start work at companies doing the opposite. Half of ITFD will be in Paris, and let's not forget that one student who is exploring groundbreaking techniques to reduce the spiciness of food. Our masters have shown us that two things are certain. Firstly, classroom SO5 is always too hot, and S19 always smells bad. Second, the world will continue to evolve. Our education at BSE has equipped us with not only technical knowledge, but also the resilience to embrace change, the intellectual curiosity to continue to learn, and a 50% alumni summer school discount. Now, last but not least, I want to thank my fellow graduates. I want to thank you for your hard work. I want to thank you for never quitting. I want to thank you for catching that train to Beaterra at 7:45 a.m. I want to thank you for not watching every World Cup game in the exam period. I want to thank you for your friendship. I want to thank you for your generosity, even when you were stressed. And I want to thank you for buying me and Giovanna a large number of drinks later tonight.
So bask in your achievements. Enjoy the sun that had always set by the time we left the library. Scream the way you wanted to whenever someone shushed you in the study rooms. And actually go see Barcelona for the first time since August 2022. Congratulations, class of 2023.
Let's go to celebrate with Edrin together down there.